All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy first contact day. I know, wrong franchise, but hey, you know what? Still pretty cool thing. Uh, and welcome to episode number 98 of my GEMP game review series. I'm your host, Chris Gogolen. Thank you for joining us. Hope everyone had a lovely Easter holiday weekend. If you're into that sort of thing, you hid the eggs or whatever you got going on. We're gonna see what kind of action we got going on right here. It looks like just some casual games for right now. Maybe we'll get into one of these in just a few minutes. But while we're waiting for that, see if there's any unique or interesting matchups here. Let's talk about a few things that are going on in the old GEMP series. So we took a month off from the OCS. Congratulations to our August qualifiers. I believe that was Paul Myers and Justin Desai. Looks like they both made a run. It's somewhere down here. Whatever. It's in the last one. I believe those are the two guys who both finished 11 and 1. I forgot to save the event stats um, from the month. Congratulations to them on qualifying. You can check the overall cumulative standings. No OCS for April. We took that month off. Two reasons. Obviously, it's a nice little break. People have said that the long 7-8 month season is too long of a grind, so we kind of split it up a little bit. Plus, we've got two events going on this month with the Premier Death Star 2 alternate format tournament that's going on all month long. Registration for that is closed, but there's over 115 players, give or take, competing in that, which is awesome. Just gonna quick refresh my Twitch stream because it didn't look like I was streaming, and that's not cool. But then we've got the so the OCS. We've got 2 months going on in the books already. We take April off. We've got the Premier Death Star 2 event I was talking about. We also have the Match Play Championship coming up at the end of the month. We'll get into that in just a minute. Sign-ups for that are still going on, but we'll be closing soon. Just a few days left on that. But because we kind of split it up into two groups, it's February and March, take April off, May and June, take July off, and then have August and September be the last month. The season was also overall split into two 3-month segments. So February, March, and May are together in one season, and then June, August, and September are season 2. So the cumulative standings, which Joe is nice enough to keep track of for us here. 3 months, highest two people who don't qualify get an at-large bid. So it's only those 3 months there. And then these last 3 months will also award an at-large bid or two at-large bids for these 3 months alone solo scores. If there's any duplicate people, so we've got Bastian and Paul and Justin and Brian Fred. If any of them were to qualify again in these later months, they would create an additional at-large bid, possibly, because it goes to the top 3. But if two of them were to qualify in any given month, or whoever happens to qualify as the seasons go on, they would create another at-large bid, which is a cumulative of all 6 months. I know, a lot of math involved there, but for the interim, just worry about, hey, play well in May, wrap up this little 3-month season here, see where you stand. Looking at right now, these guys, great records, they've already qualified. And then you've got a bunch of people right here at 19 and 5, 18 and 6, 17 and 7, all very much in the hunt. Not much really separating these guys in terms of one win, one win. So we had a meta shift here with some errata and a new V set. Could certainly affect any of these players. Enough new decks, new ideas, shifting the meta. Maybe get an extra loss or two that might allow, or an extra win or two if you happen to catch on to a hot deck that might juggle some things around here. Excellent, excellent. Glad everything is streaming well. And again, thanks to Joe for keeping up with the standings here and keeping this up to date for everybody. Uh, More impressively, just the number of people who have played all 24 games so far. Look at going down here, all 24 games, all 24 games. A couple more played 24, which is just great. Dylan, thank you for renewing your subscription for month number 20. So certainly, lots of good stuff going on there. Um, but let's talk about this Premier Death Star 2 event that is going on, this retro event right here. So we had, well, 68 people have started their games, or 67 people have played at least one game. And then you can see there's about another almost 50 people here who haven't played any of their games yet. You still have plenty of time. The league just started 4-1. It runs all the way to 5-10. It's only a 10 game series as opposed to the OCS, which is usually 12 games. So it's just 10 games you have to play. Dylan, 8-2 here, highest percentage so far, just above Thrawn, who's also 8-2. Then you got our reigning world champion, Joe Olson, sitting there at 8-1. And then you got a bunch of other people here who have already finished up their games as well. 6-4, 5-5, not likely to make it. You got Justin at 6-0 right there. A couple guys, Dark Deal, I forget who that is. Casey and Hayes right there at 5-1. A bunch of other guys here at like 3-1, 3-0. So certainly some opportunities still for people to get their games in. Probably going to need at least 8 wins, I'm thinking, to make the cut. So if you've got 3 losses, maybe you're the last guy. I don't know. Maybe a 7, maybe a 7-3 with the highest percentage makes it in. Kind of depends how some things shake out. I definitely expect there to be, a couple of 9-1s. 10-0 is always possible. Certainly could be tough with the calibers of players we have in this event. But at the same point in time, when it's such a large field, you could get 10 random games against 10 people who haven't played in 20 years, who just came back because they thought this event sounded fun. So, and if you're an active competitive player, that can certainly work to your advantage. But all the details of the event, the prizes, the structure, where we go from here, can all be found on the forums. Of course, step number 1 is play 10 games and try and win as many of them as you can. So still lots of time left. You still have, we're 4 days into the event, and 7 or 8 people have already finished all their games. They're going to be sitting around for a good 5 weeks waiting to see what happens, I guess. And yes, Dylan and I did play earlier today. I think Dylan and I played twice. I think he beat me both times. So, excuse me, now I got the hiccups. Hang on. All right. So yes, what have I played so far? So yeah, I lost to Dylan twice. Oh, I lost to Steve. So I'm 0-3 against Euros, I think. So I beat 3 Americans and lost to 3 Euros, I think is how that is looking so far, which is about par for the course with me. um, the trick to this format has very clearly been, you know, Honor of the Jedi is kind of the key card. If you have a dark side deck that can play around it and inflict damage outside of that, you tend to do very well. If you are a light side player and you can disrupt enough dark side, what they're trying to do, and hide behind Honor of the Jedi to absorb most of their damage sources, you tend to do very well also. Um, yeah, it's kind of the linchpin card, and the instant the following expansion is added into it, which is the Jabba's Palace Seal deck cards, where you get no escape, things tend to shift dramatically. Um, Honor not impacting effects, epic events, and objective damage anymore. Uh, tends to start getting some things that can snowball. Like it's hard sometimes for Hunt Down to occupy 3 battlegrounds. So Visage ends up hurting you for part of the game or most of the game, whereas it hurts your opponent almost none of it because they just get honor out really quickly. Um, so obviously there are ways to play around it a little bit, but it's tricky. Whereas a deck like Ral Ops that can cover 3, 4 battleground sites, okay, might have a little bit more of a chance to get some other sources of damage in. Um, that kind of stuff. If you're playing just a very space heavy deck, or even something like TTO, hard to cover 3 battlegrounds as TTO with Docking Bay and 2 systems, maybe that kind of thing. 3 systems, all sell out, all space. Maybe you play around Honor a little bit, and then you run into like an X-wing swarm deck that starts picking off all your ships, and so it's tough for Darkside. But the people who solve that mystery, or that can't shake this thing in my throat. I apologize. Yeah, the people who tend to play around that the best um, seem to have or are more likely to be the more successful um, in the event. So still plenty of time to play out the rest of your games. Take that advice, how you will. It wasn't really much of advice. It's kind of the elephant in the room, right? Honor of the Jedi, really super annoying if you're dark side, really super awesome if you're light side. But yeah, one of the incredibly overpowered cards, even to the fact that like you're not afraid to sense anything with honor out because they started. There is no try. Who cares? I don't have to lose any force from it. I'll play 7 senses and just cancel all their key stuff. So lots of league events going on too. We talked about those in a previous show. Hey Yoshi, thank you for renewing your subscription. 27 months. Holy moly, that's awesome. All right, hang on one second. All right, the other thing I did want to talk about, the other big upcoming event, right there, Match Play Championship. This event takes place over 2 weekends. This is your NCAA March Madness style. For those of you unfamiliar with that, it's a bracket of 64 people. This year, we opened it up to 80 to have a little bit of an extra bubble. But traditionally, it's 64 people. It's a bracket. It's a single elimination bracket. All the people who get knocked out in the early rounds will be participating in are eligible to participate in another tournament later for some additional prizes. It's $25 to play. There's a couple of guys, myself included. We kind of take everybody, kind of rank them top to bottom, juggle them around a little bit, so you're not playing your teammates in the early rounds, which always impacts seeding a little bit as well. Usually, there's a nice clump of guys in the middle who are all basically have the same skill set, track record, success record. Um, and then it's just like, okay, who can we put where so they don't play somebody that they're, a teammate with, or the same person that they played last year or the year before or whatnot. So, seeding is not 100%. It's not just, we don't just 1 through 64, here you go. There's a little bit of finesse to it. So don't take your statistical seed number too much to heart, because again, there's always a group of players, like anybody basically ranked like number 5 to number 8. Hey Taco, thank you for renewing your subscription as well. Um, yeah, Joe Olson will probably be the number 1 overall seed. Yes, typically speaking, the reigning MPC champion and the reigning world champion and the reigning player of the year are usually our top 3 seeds. Now, Joe being world champion and player of the year knocks out 2 of those. That sometimes that does overlap. It's fairly uncommon for the. It has happened, but it's fairly uncommon because of the points involved. That the world champion is not player of the year. But on the instances where they're not, those take up three of our number one spots usually. Prior reigning NPC champion, reigning world champion, reigning player of the year are typically three of our four number one seeds. Joe will certainly be taking that top spot, and then depending on who else signs up here. Um, but yeah, registration runs until midnight on April 11th, so less than a week away. What's the 11th? That's Sunday. So you've got like 5.5 days, give or take, to get your registration in. So we have time to create the bracket and put everybody where they're supposed to go. I think we've got about 38 people right now. It's $25 to play. There's some decent cash prizes. If you get knocked out, you get trophies involved. Trophies are always cool, right? We like trophies. I got one back here. Hang on. Let's do this. So, yeah, match play championship. It'll look something like this, I'm sure, for top four. Nice, cool little trophy here. You get some player of the year points, pick up some cash, you reimburse yourself some cash. And like I said, if you get eliminated earlier, you go on to the consolation event, which I are we. I'll ask Taco because he's in the chat. Is consolation event another bracket, or are we doing just a 6 game like Swiss style tournament? Sometimes I think we do usually as like a 6 game Swiss. It's a bracket played over 6 weeks. All right, so this is a second bracket event. Awesome. So you get two brackets for the price of one. Um, and a chance to pick up some additional cash prizes, possibly trophies as well. Hey, consolation schedule. Yeah, I should have read this. There you go. Here's all the details right there. One match per week over the course of 6 weeks. And it matches both sides. So you play light side and dark side against the same person. Differential does matter, so you keep track of how much you win or lose the game by. Count your loss piles. We've had several games come down to tiebreakers where loss pile counts do matter. So make sure to count your loss piles and your opponent's loss pile. Luckily, it's GEMP, so it's all played online, right? So you can pull up the game link. You just got to fast forward all the way to the end, which, stinks. 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. Yes. So there you go. Yeah. And then we'll take Monday and Tuesday and part of Wednesday if necessary and finalize the brackets, which will then be revealed on Hollow Theater on Wednesday night, April 14th. And that'll give everybody about 10 days to prepare for their upcoming matchups. Saturday is round of 64 and round of 32, ideally, if we have 64 people. And then Sunday will be top 16, top 8, and then the following weekend it'll be the final four and the finals. During the first weekend, your decks are locked in. You will play the same deck for each round. If you make it to the following weekend, you're allowed to change decks for the top four in the finals. If we have more than 64 people, because we did open it up to that, there will be, it'll be the extra round and 64 on Saturday, 32 and 16 on Sunday, and then there'll be 3 rounds played the following weekend. Top 8, top 4, and finals. Right now we are currently sitting at like 38 players with just a few days left to go. So 64 seems like a realistic number. If we get more than that, there may be a couple of play-in games. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe it won't be a full round, but we kind of wanted to keep it to 2 games per day, especially on that Sunday. We had announced it as 3, but we kind of got some feedback and some pushback on that. And after thinking about it, for a number of people, especially in Europe and not in Eastern time zone, or even people on the West Coast, getting up really early on a Sunday to play a couple of games, leading into a Monday workday could kind of throw things off and make people a little hesitant about it. And conversely, people in Europe having to stay up late on a Sunday night to get their second game in if they should make it that far, um, and then have to get up Monday morning and go to work. You know, it was putting a bit of an unnecessary strain on those players. So we scaled that back a little bit, trying to be a little more accommodating, and hopefully that will encourage a few more people to sign up. All the details for how to sign up should be right here. Nope, that's just the signups. Uh, I don't know. There's a link to it right there. There you go. Store product. Bam, right there. $25. Click that link. Pay your money. Get signed up. Yeah, we're hoping that helps some of the Euro players when we get some more diverse signups as well. We'll be slightly staggering, the start times and whatever on on Saturday and on Sunday, so there'll have a little flexibility as well in terms of when you play those games. It's not going to be like everyone's playing 9 a.m. Saturday morning Eastern Standard Time, and you're like, well, that's 6 o'clock in the morning, and I live on the West Coast. I'm not getting up that early to play. Things will be staggered a little bit throughout the morning, so West Coast people can sleep in still a little bit, and conversely, European players can play a little earlier and not be playing so late into the evening. So there's a whole bunch of things going on with that. So sign up and play. It's an amazingly fun event. Matching wits, locking horns with a top quality opponent after opponent after opponent after opponent after opponent after opponent, all the way to the championship. Coming down to grinding out those few cards that could make the difference. That old standby of just, this game's not going my way, I'll just concede and move on to the next one. In the match play championship, that line of thinking does not work. So you got to play the game out. You got to grind out every last card you can, or draw up or suicide yourself some other way to stop your opponent from getting cards back. Because there are a multitude of games over the years that have come down to one force or tiebreakers. We've gone to lost piles. We've gone to the tiebreakers after that. I don't think we've gotten quite to flip a coin in a while, but yeah, we've seen flip a coin as the way for deciding who advances. I think in some of these formats. So that's what we got going on coming up. You got 5 days. Sign up. Do it right now before you forget. Just click that link. Go right over to the PC store and sign up for the tournament. $25. You get some cool prizes. You get some foil slips. You got a chance to win some cash. You got a chance to win a trophy. You get a chance to get the exclusive AI foils for this year. So, good stuff. All right. Let's see. We got some different league events, some sealed games going on, all these blitzes, online play weekend. Oh, that's the other thing we're in the middle of online play weekend. That's the other interesting thing. So, online play week, or week in this case, started April 2nd, runs through April 11th. Here's the official announcement. Da 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 da. Play a game Star Wars. Take a screenshot or send your GEMP link to this email. Make sure to include it in the actual email, and don't be like me, who sends the email, types it up, says, here's my game link, and forgets to hit copy paste, and sends the email off, and then has to send another one and go, I'm sorry, I forgot to hit Control V and paste this in there. A little bit about the game, forum name, physical mailing address, so you can send that stuff off. Previous year's giveaways were holographic versions of Trench and Rex, Cody and Phasma, Grievous and Isla, Kit Fisto, and Supreme Leader Snoke. These are awesome alternate image variants with their full template foil slips. They've got the holographic graphic. And this year's foils digital release via GEMP as special Easter eggs. So they're out there somewhere. I haven't looked for them yet. Have any of you guys looked for them and figured out what they are yet? If so, let me know. We'll pull them up. I'll announce spoiler alert If anybody, if anybody has them and doesn't want to see them, they want to find them on their own. If somebody has them, they are in set 13. All right. Uh, I'm going to go hunting for set 13 cards. So, spoiler alert, look away or fast forward about 3 minutes if you're watching this later on YouTube and you don't want to know what the AI foil versions are from these cards. Do, 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 do. Set 13. Do, 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 do. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I just found one. That's pretty cool. Not gonna lie. That's pretty cool. So Maul is 1. And we went with Kira for the second one, huh? Okay. Okay. I get that little Shadow Collective subplot there. Would be interesting to go Maul and Qui-Gon maybe, but it's kind of hard to do a holographic version of that one. But, Maul and Kira, 2 great looking cards. So if you want your chance to get the foil slips of those, fill out the instructions like I just said after playing a game, and they will be mailed out, probably with some later prizes and stuff, kind of combine some stuff together in a few weeks. All right. All right, let's jump into this Open 2 Series game, Map versus QMC. We'll see what's going on here. Map certainly being the new hot deck right now because of uh-oh. And reading the chat here, looks like Stubbly says he forgot to include the Emperor, so he doesn't have a way to put the Emperor here at the throne. That's going to certainly change things quite a bit. This may not be a game we end up watching as a result of that. But Map certainly got the big boost because of, while set Emperor at Exegol, attrition against opponent is +2 at same location as Kylo, Pride, or Rey. So having a nice +2 to attrition, Kylo, Allegiant General Pride, or Rey could help get rid of an extra character. It's, in my personal humble opinion, slightly overpowered to do that with Pride because Pride already adds to attrition. While Emperor on table, attrition against opponent here is +1 for each first order character, limit +3. So he's adding 3, and then this is adding 2 more. So now he's just +5 attrition against you. So even if you are limited to only 1 destiny for some reason, you can still, draw a 5, add 5 to your attrition, and crack the immunity of just about anything. I get thematics and all, but no, personally not a fan of that. You gave a guy has a built-in attrition bonus himself right there in his game text, and then you're like, yeah, well, we're going to attack him on this card as well. I get it. Again, there's only so many people who are still alive at this point in the movie when the Emperor comes back to life. That even makes a difference in that type of scenario. But yeah, I'm not a fan. I'll just leave it at that. All right, so Heisenberg with some big deploys here. He's got his objective flipped. He's got Harksef in the Overseer. He drops the Tanev, which is this Parsec 1 to Starkiller base. Harksef here is only hyperspeed 3, so it's not going to be able to move away, but he can certainly land, get Harksef out, and then relocate Harksef like to this site where Pusimer is. Pusimer is going to add 1 to his 4 strains at each Cloud City site. So these guys become drains of 2. This becomes a drain of 1. Oh. He went for the rebel leadership. Stubley's going to try and sense it. Do or do not is in play. So he will lose 2 force and the sense. He drew a lateral damage, which he's going to lose. And there goes a sniper and a sense. Oh, I'm sorry, there and the sense. It looks like Ray was the agent. Yep, he deployed Ray. That flipped. Oh, he didn't move, so I guess he's going to use his once per game if a battle just initiated with Executor. That doesn't work. So we're going to have to assume he's got alternatives to fighting, and he's going to pay 3 force to cancel said battle. That would be the standard light side trick to avoid battles in space. It's always possible. He could have like hyperscape or something, and he's just going to block the drain and then hyperscape away. There's certainly no penalty anymore to QMC dealing with that, with the shields being blanked. So things like dodge, path, and hyperscape gained a lot of value in the last couple of months. Yeah, the objective tells you who the agent is now. Extra information: resistance agent is Ray. You don't have to scroll all the way back up to page 1 to find out who it was at the start of the game. All right, we got an Ellis Hellrot. Kylo Ren and Supreme Leader Snoke are moving in front of Luke and Rey. Now we've got a trooper coming down in front of Lando. And Heisenberg is going to play Path of Least Resistance to move Lando over with Luke and Rey. Lando's got to be with another alien on Cloud City in order to add his battle destiny. Certainly possible we could see, I think Lobot deploys as a react. All right, here comes some troopers. We got FN, who can cancel some game text. We've got Captain Phasma, who's going to trigger a used pile pull because of Bow to the First Order. That's the once per game. Get a card when you deploy a guy to the battleground for those 4 key characters. Oh, and even now tells you extra information. Characters used. So he's used all 4 of them already. Look at all this extra information you can find out just by clicking on cards. Now we got a Zuckist and Mist Hunter going after the Tantive. So now it's going to be, which battle did you want to cancel? It's always a risky play with QMC is when they try and spread wide. If a dark side deck can engage against them in multiple locations, they could find themselves not having enough evasion cards to cover everything. Wow, okay. So Heisenberg plays hit and run during the weapons segment to try to move away. And Stubley hits him with Gravity Shadow, which will stop the ship from moving for the rest of the turn. And he did have to spend the force to attempt to do the move. And now he'll draw the 5 for Battle Destiny, which will be enough to kill the Tantive. But take no overflow, just battle damage. Now we're going to see a battle up in space, and now it's going to be, he's going to battle up in space. He's going to trigger the loss with Snoke because everybody there is a first order character. He loses Rescue in the Clouds from his used pile. Because there's no pilots, he could have stopped the Gravity Shadow if he had a pilot on the ship with the Rescue in the Clouds, but he's just going to draw his Power Destiny. Harksef loses by 10. So these guys cover 9. So again, not really a big deal. He could lose 10 cards. Can't imagine that's what he's going to do. Darkside does win the battle as well, so Phasma's text triggers. If you just want to battle at same or related location, you can retrieve a trooper. So if he had any troopers in his lost pile, he did not. He possibly could have retrieved one. Alright, so everything gets cleared, and he takes 1 battle damage, and he top decks the Hear Me Baby that he lost from the used pile. Now we're going to get another battle here on the ground. And again, all first order characters, so Snoke does a ping damage, and there goes a good blaster at your side. I'm sorry, Ancient Watering Hole. Similar pictures. So Darkside's going to get 2 Battle Destiny because you've got Phasma plus a Trooper. The Trooper canceled Lando's game text, so Lando couldn't shoot anybody and make them forfeit 0. Darkside draws a 9 total, which I believe Luke will cover. Yep. And Lightside only draws a 3, which this FN Trooper will cover. Stubbly plays close call there. Not a fan so much of that because you have to lose the Trooper. Oh, Ray is there. I'm sorry. I take that back. His total was a 4. That makes perfect sense. I forgot. Yeah, total brain fart there. Yeah, Ray adds 1 to the total, so it would be a total of 4. So he'd have to lose more than the Trooper. So good use of the close call there. Canceling that. So he just loses that Trooper, moves the other guy over, resolidifies his position. Lightside has to lose Luke. And Lightside went from having a pretty wide board and being able to do a number of potential damage this turn to having lost quite a bit of their board, having no space presence left. Now they will have an opportunity, because of keeping the Empire out forever, to go dig out any card they want from this massive 17 force pile. Now the question is which card can he pick that's going to make the most difference? In addition to losing that battle earlier, he did have to lose 2 extra force as well from Kylo. It'd be nice to have him in this Premier Death Star 2 format. While present at a battleground, Honor of the Jedi is suspended. Yeah, that'd be pretty nice. I'll just play Kylo Ren. Alright. So Lightside plays Rebel Leadership, takes General Leia into hand. They're going to put Akbar down at the War Room. He deploys for free aboard Home 1. I sense we're going to see Home 1 hit the table. We do. For 7 force, because it deploys minus from the location. Akbar in the move phase will move up to the bridge. There goes Leia to the to her quarters, the guest quarters. She deploys -2 there, so again, good use of force. Now the question will be does he spread out? Probably. Stubbly's only got a 3-card hand. Akbar goes up. You can move these 2 over to the docking bay. Where do I petition for a change for strike playing an Endor shield to tell you the same count? That'd be a good petition. I'm sure a lot of people like to know what their counts are at. Okay, so Lando's going to stay. We have to assume that Heisenberg has a path of least resistance in his hand, which he will use during said deploy phase to move away. Now, the other thing to keep in mind as well is this particular site, you can use use 2 force to cancel a force drain at a Cloud City site, but because of the objective, locations you control with an alien, drains may not be modified or canceled by opponent. So, whichever way Lando moves here, that drain will not be able to be canceled by the text on this site. So, he does initiate battle. It does cause another force loss because, again, he's battling with all these people. We see a General Jar Jar go off the top. And there's a dodge to move Lando away as a react. And Lando moves over with Leia. So now Lando and Leia are alone in her guest quarters. Mm-hmm. Chiranu got deployed aboard the Finalizer. Hux and Pride are going to shuttle themselves down. We'll leave PV and Chiranu there. Now Kylo's going to move over. And he's going to take Snoke. Probably the other 2 guys as well. I don't know that I'd want to leave those troopers just there by themselves. Alright, he's going to risk it. He'll pull resistance. He blocks some drains. He's definitely ahead on life force counts. We got 15, 24, 26, 27 total versus 16 and 7, 23. So not too far off in life force counts, but still he's a little ahead. So apparently not having the Emperor and triggering this extra 2 bonus and, having the Emperor in play doesn't seem to be hindering him that much so far. Which might tell you something you need to know about map again. Alright, interestingly enough, light side is going to activate all their force. This would be a great time for a Chirrut. Lull your opponent into a false sense of security. Deploy somebody or 2 somebodies, recirculate, and then battle in multiple spots. Because there's no resistance leader here. This is a drain -1. Okay. So it's a drain of 1 there. This is a drain of 1. These are both blocked. So not much in the way of damage going to hit dark side. And certainly their characters are positioned better and stronger than light side is. Heisenberg has 1 more site, which he is going to throw in between. And he's going to get a Menace Fades out, which will help with some force drain bonuses, but that's really just Chirranu up here. And now he's going to spread far and wide. We get a Maz Kanata going over here. There's a wedge going down in front of Zuckuss. And then he moves over. Makes sense to Starkiller base here. Rey uses her land speed and moves to this site. And these guys are going to shuffle over here. If it's one thing QMC is good at, it's spreading out and going wide. They're not much for a vertical board. It's usually a very horizontal playing field with them, where they cover 5 or 6 locations and they use lots of evasion cards to avoid damage. If you have ways to break through that evasion, usually you can be pretty successful against them. Also a lot of their characters are more of the smaller, cheaper variety. So if you can kind of take space away from them, kind of cancel any opportunities they have for like celebration retrieval and things like that, um, usually you have good success against QMC. And home one will move to block Zuckus. He does have a shield pull left, so he will pull Ultimatum, which isn't really necessary because Menace fades is accomplished. Oh, he doesn't control a Battlegrounds system anymore because he moved the home one. So this is a drain of 3 at Bespin, so you will need Ultimatum to reduce that to 2. He loses Guts, he loses the Outrider. Drain for 1 at the docking bay. This is a drain -1 site also. So total of 4 loss being inflicted. We get a Grand Admiral Thrawn aboard the Finalizer. There's a generic First Order Trooper. Yeah, there aren't too many map characters left at this point. And we've got an It's a Trap being played by a Ray to cancel this battle. After he loses a force, of course. Loses a force, of course, of course. From Snoke. That Snoke ping damage is already starting to add up. I think that's probably 4 or 5 cards that Snoke has caused, just from only having resistance characters in battles. And now he'll shuffle his ships around. Finalizer's going to chase down the home one. I would assume Zuckus is going to move to block this one here. Yep. Now the question is, does Heisenberg have any other ships left? We've already seen the Tantive go away. We've seen the Outrider go away. And we've seen Harksef and the Overseer go away. Seems unlikely. Wedge is hyperspeed 5. He could just jump all the way back to Bespin. You've got Thrawn with 2 Battle Destiny here, going up against Akbar home 1 with 2 Battle Destiny as well. Kind of seems like Heisenberg is just kind of getting outflanked here. He's taken too many little sources of damage. Wasn't able to stabilize and set up his retrieval, which is kind of what QMC needs to do. They will get a couple of drains in. He gets a drain of 1 here and a drain of 2 with Maz there. Gets rid of a couple of trooper assaults. And they've shut down the main reactor, which tells me that there's a laser cannon battery or 2 floating around in this deck. Hey, we got a Calfal. It's always an interesting character. Both players draw only 1 Battle Destiny, and yours is higher. Theirs becomes 0. Then we get a Yoda as well. Well, Yoda's going to limit both sides to only drawing one, but you can't modify or cancel it. But Calfal does reset the. He reflects the. He says he resets the draw. So I don't think that quite gonna work like this. But they are good forfeit fodder kind of stuff. But like I said, unfortunately, just kind of getting out damaged here overall. Just keep taking these little pings of damage with no retrieval, and Stubley should pull this game out. So, Dan, thank you for renewing your subscription for month number 21. And he's going to move Ray with the path. Yeah, Calthal may have gotten a revision that may not, or a special clarification that isn't quite reflected in how her game text is written. But the strictly speaking, the way it's written, no, Yoda would stop it, but because it's not resetting the total, it's resetting the individual draw. Now, some people modify that resetting it to 0 is not modifying it, but I don't know all the prepositions on that one. And there's an Ellis Hellrot, and he's going to Ellis some people over and beat the crap out of some people. So Heisenberg is going to throw in the towel. We'll never get to find out what happens with Yoda. This is what I was hoping for. Bam, here we go. Premier Death Star 2 event. Hey, Dark Deal, playing a Throne Room deck. This is what I was hoping to look at today. If you're looking for some decks to play for this event as well, hold that thought for a second. There are some, pre-set up decks in here. Some sample decks, Premier Death Star 2, some EBO decks, Hidden Base X-Wings, Prophet, Throne Room Nudges, Bring Him Before Me, Dark Deal, Hunt Down, Rops, Brangus, those kinds of stuff. So there are some sample decks available. You can also open them in the deck builder. Just hit the shopping cart icon, and they'll be available there. And then you can kind of see what's in them, and use them as a starting point, and make any of your own personal adjustments. Or these decks are based on 1999 rules, 2000 rules, as they existed at the time the deck was played. So certain things may not quite still work the same way 20 years later. Califal has an errata. Reduces total battle destiny to 0 as an automatic action. Alright, so Calfal and Yoda do work together. So Yoda limits you to 1. You draw destiny higher than it. Calfal doesn't affect the individual draw. Calfal's been errata to affect the total battle destiny. So Calfal and Yoda will work together. Thank you for pulling up that text. So now we all know that mystery has been solved. All right. Luke just got captured by Bring Him Before Me. What do we got going on here? What did I miss? So Corrin did a 4-strain. There went a Luke from hand. There went a Luke from hand. He deployed Dengar. He deployed Janus. Dark Deal activated some force. Pulled the Docking Bay. Docking Bay transited Obi-Wan and Luke over here in front of Vader. So Luke then became captured. This objective flipped. Darkseid will now lose a force at the end of their turn. We've got a sniper being played. Gonna try and pick off Obi-Wan. Here comes the sense, or one of many senses possibly. There's the altar to cancel the sense. This is old school right here, folks. Sense altar wars. There's the sense to cancel the altar. This is where you sense that sense. Yep. All right. So there's the draw. So this sense, dark side, cancels light side's sense. Now, dark side's altar cancels light side's sense. Light side ends up with a couple cards in the lost pile. Dark side ends up with a couple cards back in their used pile. And now we've got swing and a miss being played. Draw destiny, subtract that from their total weapon destiny. Also cancels mostly armless dark strike and this destructive conflict or focused attack. Okay. There's a grabber that Corrin is going to play here to grab swing and a miss. So light side draws a 3, so that'll be subtracted from the total, which looks like it may miss anyway. Yep, he would have missed anyway. Vader does add 1 to each of his weapon destiny draws, though, this Lord Vader, so certainly a risk worth playing. Now we've got it disarmed. Whew. Now Vader's been disarmed, and there goes his weapon. Obi's certainly in a less precarious position than he was a minute ago. And Darkseid's like, fine, I'll just drain for 1 then. Now it'll come down to what else does Corrin have up his sleeve? Emperor's on table, as is Janus. He just drew Mara for Destiny. Could have his multiple Maras. He's going to drop the Dreadnought over with Dengar, solidify that drain, give him 4 ability, give him some forfeit value, higher power, make it a little more difficult for dark side or for light side to interact there. We did see the Falcon for Destiny earlier, so light side does have some space. It's the Gold Eater Falcon though. And Corrin's going to move everybody to Tatooine. He'll have to lose 1 force at the end of his turn for his objective. Some would argue it's a small price to pay for taking away Luke Skywalker. Dan, while you're in the chat there, Hollow Theater this week, what do you got going on? You got any special guests, special topics? We know next week we'll be talking about the NPC brackets. What do you got going on this week? So light side throne room deck. Luke's taken away. You got Obi with his lightsaber already in play. Not many other characters available for light side. You have EPP Leia and Han, who add a battle destiny when they're together. Plus they've got some weapons to shoot some low level people. I've seen people float Anakin's lightsaber and slap that on Leia as well, so she can have an extra opportunity to try and hit somebody. Otherwise, you just could just end up doing this. It's going to be expensive, unfortunately, though, to move Obi. Docking Bay Transit from here requires 7 force. Unless he's got an Endor Docking Bay to convert that, which would be some very interesting tech. There was no docking bay. He had to verify. There's the EPP Han. Now, we did see Corrin take a Force Lightning into hand, which also makes this potentially risky. Uh, Destiny not being as good in Premier Death Star 2 decks. You don't have as much access to character cycling and things like that. Also, a lot of your characters have lower Destiny numbers because they haven't, been power crept too much yet. No Sith Fury or Jedi Levitation things to redraw characters. So, a Force Lightning on Han, kind of hit or miss. He's only a 3, but speaking of 3s, there you go. There's a 3. Han will miss there. Dan says he has things to talk about and he wants us to send him the bracket as soon as it's finished. Yep, yeah, no, we'll get it over. So all right, so he does play the Force Lightning. Does go after try and zap. He went after Leia. He was going for big air. He missed. He drew a 1. Wouldn't have gotten either one of them. Leia's going to take a shot at the Emperor. Does he have a blaster proficiency? No. Then why would you shoot at the Emperor? Oh, he's defense value minus from the Force Lightning. Haha. I was like, what's going on here? Why wouldn't you just shoot him because he lost his immunity to attrition? Now, the Emperor's also defense value minus 2 from the Force Lightning as well. Let's see, you have to keep reading. Loses immunity to attrition and is defense value minus 2 for remainder of turn. So he went down to being defense value 5. Light side mains decks have lots of 5s. He took a chance, hit the Emperor. Emperor's now forfeit 0. All right, we get some Battle Destiny draws here. Light side draws a 1 and a 4. So it'll be the Emperor and Janice being lost here. Dark side draws a 1, which will be enough to get rid of Han. Also enough to stack a card, because they did win the battle. With 5 attrition remaining, Corrin is going to choose to forfeit Vader. That does get rid of the disarmed. There goes the Emperor as well. Move phase, docking bay transit from here requires 1 force, so these guys could run away. If they're afraid of what Corrin has in his hand, you'd assume he lost Vader because he has another Vader in his hand, right? That's the only thing that makes sense there. You had to lose 5. Janice forfeits for 5, so you'd keep Vader if you had, if you didn't have another one. But in this case, yep, they're going to run away. All right. Now, the tempting part if you're dark side in this position is, do you deploy Vader and capture Luke again, and then kill Leia? It's almost like, do you care? You started battle order. You've got it satisfied. He doesn't. He's activating 12 force. Is he really going to want to pay 3 to activate the drain for 1 and 1? While you're draining for free and causing 2 force loss. There goes an order to engage off the top. There goes a mech failure off the top. Corn lamenting in the chat how expensive Lord Vader is. He does cost 8 normally, plus 1 to the spaceport docking bay because he's a pilot. So we just spent 9 force to deploy Vader. There's a first strike. Okay. No aim high in play, so he will get to retrieve one. Vader's got a lightsaber. Now, we do have Insight in play as well, so Dark Jedi are defense value -1 from this as well. That also makes that shooting the Emperor play better earlier, because they only needed a 4 to hit. Dark Side retrieves an Emperor, which is good for them, because they can potentially use the objective at some point to pull him back out. Now we're going for some battle damage here. We're going to get a swing and a hit, potentially. Yep. Hey, circle. Ooh, spicy. That's going to take Leia, make her forfeit 0. Leia will shoot back, I'd imagine. Try and hit Vader. She only needs to draw a 5. So there's potentially plenty of in the deck to do. No. There's a second circle being drawn for Battle Destiny. Leia not shooting. Interesting. And he draws a 0. Yikes. Again, not having, deck efficiency. Not having the ability to keep pulling locations and cycle through cards and, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you draw some 0s for Battle Destiny from time to time. Oh, Vader's defense value +2, alarm to the lightsaber. Yeah, you're right. He's defense value 7, so you'd have to top deck a 7. Good point. But if he had shot, he might have drawn. He would have moved the 0. I know. If you shoot at him and you don't need it, you draw the 0 for the Battle Destiny. Don't ever get into that shoulda woulda kind of game with what I would have drawn, because you don't know what's there. And if you do it the other way, if you shoot, you'll draw the 5 and miss, and then draw the 0 for Battle Destiny, and then think, oh, I shouldn't have shot. I would have drawn the 5 for Battle Destiny. So that'll certainly peel some cards. So he lost quite a bit in battle damage here. He had 10 battle damage to take. He lost Wedge. Sorry about the mess. Wedge's ship, Sense, Run Luke Run, Red Leader and Red One, EPP's Obi and Han, and Chewie, and a Landing Claw, and then forfeited Leia. Corn's going to spend his 7 force and move Obi-Wan over to block this drain of 2 and possibly play a second disarmed. Weapon Lev is also another popular card in light side decks as well. Light side mains decks, ground decks. Between searching their own used pile to find weapons and stealing Vader Saber, Mara Saber. Alright, Corn's going to force draining, so he doesn't have another sniper. Do we have a second disarmed. Nope, no second disarmed. Jabba the Hutt for 6 force. Jabba being one of the limited characters that Darkseid has. That's ability 4 that can draw Battle Destiny in this format. A little more expensive. Used to deploy -2 at Tatooine. We do see a Tatooine docking bay there. Yeah, I mean, you're ahead and you've inflicted quite a bit of damage, and Dark Deal's not activating quite a bit of force. The smarter play, not walking into the weapon lev, smarter play there, yes, is to move away. All right, we got a sense, though, so maybe he can get out of this. He draws a sense for a sense destiny. But yeah, I mean, you could obviously keep just you're draining in space. You're ahead. Obi can keep put Jabba at this docking bay transit these guys over to here, and how far can Obi really chase you? Battling into people at docking base not always the greatest idea because of cards like that, Fallen Portal. But unfortunately, it missed. Any docking bay or these backdoor Jabba's Palace sites, target immediately lost. Destiny +2, greater than total defense value. You can target up to 2 characters. So he went for just Janice. Personally would have gone after Jabba. He's got the higher forfeit, right? And power. But he wanted to get rid of Janice. Guess he doesn't like the guy's hat or something. Alright, his only chance here. And it looks like it's going to be a miss. This will probably be a win for Corrin here in just a second. Obi got hit, forfeit 0. Obi swings back at Vader, does not get it done, and goes ahead and concedes the game. Congrats to Corrin on picking up a win in this format. A dark side win, also always important, right? Quick check at the standings over here. What do we got going on? Dark Deal was kind of fairly high up in the standings, wasn't he? Yeah, he was 5-1, so that's a second loss for him. And Corrin picking up a win in where'd Corrin go? Is that like his first game? That was his first game. So Corrin now off to a 1-0 start. So congrats to him on picking up that win right there. I think that's going to do it for tonight. That was a good show. Thank you guys very much for being very active and vocal in the chat and for looking up things for me since, you know, I'm not as good at multitasking as I used to be. Don't forget to sign up for the Match Play Championship. You've only got about 5 days left to do that. Get your registration completed. You don't want to miss out. Great event. Lots of fun. A lot more fun in person, but we'll be back there soon with live events. The way things hopefully are moving in that direction finally. Hollow Theater this Wednesday. Dan has stuff to talk about. I don't know what Dan's got to talk about because he didn't really say what he wanted to talk about, but Dan has stuff. So Dan's got his usual show. I don't know who his guest is. I don't know who his co-host is. He's got 48 hours to figure all that out himself. So if he'll be live streaming remotely, if Dan's not in California, if Dan is still in Pittsburgh, looking relocating possibly, he'll have some Yinzers maybe stopping by the show. Who knows what's going on? Yeah, play your games, play your league games, do your online play submissions, get your awesome foils of Kira and Maul. Oh, spoiler alert! Damn it. Yeah, I ruined it. I'm sorry. Who's watching this far anyway? Oh, Dan hasn't gone to Cali. Dan's still in Cali. He's not. He hasn't gone to Pittsburgh yet. That's next week. I messed up his itinerary. Um, my apologies. So next week, who knows? Well, next week we know who's going to be stopping by. It's going to be Taco Bill talking about some brackets, right? Um, so that's what we'll have going on. But thank you guys very much for tuning in tonight. I had fun as always. I hope you guys had some fun, learned some stuff too, enjoyed watching some Premiere to Death Star 2 action. And we'll catch you back here next Monday night as we get closer and closer to episode 100. And hopefully, sometime between now and the next 2 weeks, I participated in an episode of Bad Deck Breakdown with CRG and Corin. Um, that hopefully should be edited and posted in the next little bit here. So that's on Kendall when he gets time to make those updates and edits and you know get it the way he wants it. But it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed myself. I always love talking about all things Star Wars, the history of the game, the experiences over 25 years. Which yes, I feel old every time I say that. Um, and can't wait to see what the finished product comes out at. We had a lot of laughs. We had a lot of interesting topics. You know, kind of veered off in some interesting directions a couple times. So curious to see how he pulls all that back in the rough cut. So uh, you guys take care. Have a great night. We'll see you back here next week, and may the force be with you.